Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today we had a sort of unexpected unboxing. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot I had this one coming. I think I had this one on pre-order, hence why I forgot about it. But as you can see, this is from the USA Gundam store. And before I get into what's actually inside, have a little peek of what is in there. Probably might be able to guess just off of that little slit, but comes with some inserts. So this one is for the Model Palooza 2026. This is going from October 9th to the 11th. I believe this is in Florida. So we, of course, here we go. You see that on the bottom where my finger just stopped blocking. Holiday and Resort. So if you're over in Florida and you're interested, I'd say check it out. It's got, as it says here, larger scale model show, 500 plus models on display, 100 plus vendors, seminars, demos, huge raffle. So there we go, new mecha and contest. Yeah, so it seems like a really good time. So like I said, if you're anywhere around that area, looks like there's a $25 admission. You have what is this? For 10 entries, $30 at door. German. Oh, okay, no, it's actually only $8 online. Okay, I got so it's only $8 to get in. If you do it online, and $10 at the door. I guess this is $25 to enter some sort of raffle or whatever. But yeah, like I said, if you're in Florida, check it out. Of course, has a typical insert here. This is probably just like an advertisement, but this is order of mine is packed by JC. I think I showed this on my last video, but I'm showing it again. They have a sale. I'm pretty sure actually it's still going on now for like a few more days, but you get 20% off site-wide. So I'm not sponsored by USA Gundam store or anything, but I buy tons of my stuff from there. So naturally, I'm going to go ahead and shout them out anyway, because I wouldn't be buying so much stuff there. I didn't like this stuff. And then we have finally this sticker for the Mermaid Gundam in a chibi form. It's funny, I actually have one not chibi form. I think it's getting blocked by my box. Yep. But if I get a second one of these, I'd probably put this one up. Otherwise, I'd put this with my other stickers. But okay, 2.5 minutes in, and we haven't even seen what's inside here. So why don't we go ahead and do that? So I believe this is only 2 things in here. This is probably gonna be a longer one, because if I'm not mistaken, I think these are both master grades. But speaking of master grades, we have our first kit here. And that is going to be the master grade. Before you guys see what's in there. Qubeley Mk-II, I believe this is. Pool 2's version. So this one came out all the way back, and what is that? Oh, I can't see from here. Oh, there we go. I'm blind. 2004. So this is a bit of an older kit. So naturally, if you've been building more recent master grades, this thing is probably not going to be up to snuff to your standards, but regardless, I've wanted a Qubeley for some time now. This design originally I didn't like too much, but as I got more and more comfortable with it, I guess you'd say, I really started to enjoy it. I just like how exotic it is, and the interesting nature of the fact that it just has a few thrusters on, I believe it's the feet, and then it has like these wings, which I guess help give it, what is it, the ambac or whatever, to help it move despite, you know, the lack of thrusters. So we have a unpainted version of it here on the left, and then of course everything else is going to be painted. So not too bad, honestly. It looks like really all they did is line the hands, really. So one of the coolest things I like about the beam saber / gun, because the beam sabers are in a wrist and act as a gun, but has like this little beam saber thing you can do with it. So you'd be able to have like 3 beams coming out of it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if this version of it does it. I know the high grade does, but the master grade, I think they just have the piece for you to hold it like that, but I don't think you can actually put a beam on it. You're going to be forced to use just a normal version of it here. And then of course you have the funnel containers. I'm pretty sure you can put the funnels in oh yeah, the pieces here. Yeah, okay, this is it with the cover, the red cover taken off. Okay, so this is just them basically trying to show you some sort of detail on it or whatever. This, of course, is again 2004. This is before they really started going crazy with the inner frames and whatnot. So naturally, they always jump the show whenever they can. It's going to have a pilot figure of Pool 2 as well. So if you're into painting a pilot figure, get it very detailed. So of course we have the hands here. There's some fixed hands to it. Actually, it sort of looks like this one might be movable, but we'll see when I eventually get on to building this thing. Of course, cockpit open. Have Pool 2 in there. But we spent like a couple minutes just looking at the outside of the box alone. So let's go look at the runners and of course the manual itself. So straight out the bat, we have the stickers here for the eyes. Looks like there's some rub-on decals here, which you don't even see anymore. They like kind of stopped doing that. So just looking at the yellow parts here on the top, it does like this thing is going to be able to have movable fingers. So that's cool. I personally always enjoyed those more than the bracket ones we see now. This nice glossy finish on the kit here. Looks very nice. This blood red paint scheme for Pool 2's Qubeley. So there's some grays here, some yellows there for that long black piece for the head. Always the Qubeley always kind of reminded me of Majin Buu with that weird dingly bit in the back of its head. Loads of yellow. I can't describe this yellow. I guess it kind of call it. Nah, I can't say dandelion. Dandelion's more like orangey. But yeah, there's some separate fingers there, very long and slender. Some more of that glossy red there. Looks like some of these pieces are for the legs, waist, crotch. Have these big yellow beam sabers. I didn't know anything. I said these are unique beam effect parts. These look a bit thicker than the standard beam effect parts here. In fact, these are marked for 2004. So yeah, it looks like this thing has unique beam saber parts. I wonder if that's different on the Mark II than it is on the Mark I Hamon's version. Now I might have to pick up Hamon's version in Massacre form to see, because whatchamacallit, I was a little torn on which version I wanted to get. I already have the high grade version of LPO Pool, so yeah, I definitely might have to get Hamon's. Oh, I'm sitting there staring at it, but yeah. One thing I love was when they have these things in skin tone, because that's the hardest thing to paint, in my opinion. Finding like the right skin tone. Everything else is easier. So this is good. All you have to do is paint everything else but her face. Adding the details for eyes and whatnot. So that's very cool. I honestly kind of miss when they had the bigger pilot figures. I wish they kind of brought those back, just because they're easier to paint. They can't stand up for crap though, so if they were to bring them back, they'd have to put like a stand on them. But otherwise, there you go. Last bit of gray for the inner frame. So they always try to pick these in different color schemes and whatnot, but whatchamacallit, this one's more of an orange and a red. Doesn't quite match the body, but I'm sure it's because there's something. I'm gonna guess the gun cannon that probably took that shade of red, so they did something a bit more like orangish, reddish color. I don't want to say dandelion, but I'm gonna put all this stuff back in a box, and then we're gonna go look inside. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this menu. I forgot to mention before, but this has blue label here on the box itself. So this is a reprint. Looks like they also updated with the Gundam official QR code there. So if you were interested, I'd recommend checking that out. A lot of cool stuff you can do there. So this has some information on Pool 2. I like that. Who is she? This one looks a little different than a lot of the other ones I've looked at. So I haven't seen a menu that looked quite like this. So this is going to be when a Pool 2 deployed in the show. I like this little marking here. She looks so adorable, cute here. That looks more sort of for LPO Pool. Pool 2 is like really kind of emo. So it's very interesting that they decided to use that kind of design for her. So there we go. A lot earlier than they usually do, but we have the Fights On documentary photograph. So it's just talking about what it did in the show and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, I do not remember the Qubeley 2 from the show at all. I think in the opening for the Debuzzeta, the second half, the second open, I guess you call it, they showed this thing off. But I do not remember it actually in the show itself. I more so remember it from the Gundam Warriors games. Anyone played those like a decade ago? They haven't done one of those in forever. That was like my first introduction to the Qubeleys. And actually, I can actually credit that to getting me back into Gundam Gundam, because I stopped watching Gundam like '04 or something like that. And that came out, I think it's 07 or 08. That got me back into it. And I honestly, I got out of Gundam plot even further back than that, because I remember seeing an episode or two of Seed when that first came out, again like around '04, but I didn't see like the whole series. I just again remember those scenes there where Akira first got into the Gundam and stuff. I'm not even sure if I entirely registered that it was Gundam until like years later. But moving on. Nothing really too crazy about the construction here. It's about what I expected with it being '04. It's not quite as Spartan as a lot of stuff just a couple years ago. It's a bit more clear on what you do to build stuff. You go look at something from like '99. Ooh boy, it's hard to tell heads or tails on what the heck you're doing, but everything here is pretty decently laid out. What else about to say? One thing I want to mention about the bits here, it's like not much you could do about these things, but put them into little containers and take them out. I said bits, I meant funnels. And again, I always gawk about this, but I just love the little documentary photos here. It just looks like you're like, again, reading something out of like the blueprints for this thing. And then they have like these shots here, like the mechanics looking at the funnels on the display racks, the beam sabers being opened up and stuff like that. It just looks really cool. But yeah, a lot of stuff in the '90s were like super hard to look at, but as kit after kit started to come out, they started to innovate, make things look a lot more detailed. This is interesting. This is a lot more like what the high grades do, where it's like towards the end they show like colored photos on how to build things. So it looks like they want you to put this thing together in the hand, which is I'm guessing the hand itself kind of sandwiches in it, keeps it in the hand well. So I don't want to sit here and speculate on what the heck I'll be looking at here, but sooner rather than later I'll end up building this thing and seeing it for itself. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I also want to mention that P Bandai later on made a expansion pack that allowed you to put the funnels on a display, because that was also one of the crappier things about this thing when it first came out, and the original high grade as well for the Qubeleys. There's nothing you can really do with the funnels. There was like no way of getting them on an action base at the time. It took them years, not decades, to finally come up with an action base similar to this that you could like, you know, use them for, but you'd only be able to get maybe one or two of them in the air using something like that. You'd have about like 3 to do it. Actually, like more, because I think there's like what 12 funnels that comes with Qubeleys, but the display base or whatever is probably like maybe $20 or something like that, maybe even less. I think $20 might be a bit of an over exaggeration, but I'm pretty sure it comes with more stuff, maybe a stand for the Qubeley itself. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the display base is like blue, because that's like the color of the thrusters, right? Blue. So it kind of almost looks like it's flying out. So I missed the chance to get it originally because I didn't have any Qubeleys, but if that thing comes back on order, I'd definitely pick it up. But I guess we should address the elephant in the room. Our last kit here, another master grade, is going to be the G armor. So this is one I wanted since it first was announced, but for some reason I didn't buy it. I don't know why. I know I got the gun tank, but for some reason I didn't get the G armor, even though I really wanted it and stuff. But I'm actually nervous about this thing because I could have sworn I pre-ordered this thing from another site, but like I'm like looking through my emails, I don't have any record of it, so I'm cross my fingers that I don't get a second one eventually. I know I almost ordered another version. It was the real type colored ARC 78-2, and it came with the G armor, which I almost got because I really wanted it that bad, and I'm like, I haven't seen this thing on order for a minute, but thankfully Gundam Store hooked me up, so I got the pre-order for this, and I threw in a Qubeley just to round it out a little bit. I'm pretty sure I used a discount code as well. So I really like the G Fight. I call it G armor. G armor is technically, if you want to get into it, when it's combined with the Gundam. But this thing came out 2009. What was I about to say? I actually have the high grade version of this thing, so maybe I'll see if that thing's in a good enough condition where I can review it. If not, I'll bring it out anyway. Ironically, I think I colored that thing in a real tight color scheme. But this thing is super cool. I have no idea what the auxiliary driving unit is, so if you guys know, feel free to let me know. It looks like this is the mount the Gundam onto the sides of it, which I know it did that one episode in Odessa when Hayato used it, which I didn't even realize until I rewatched it that Hayato ever got in the G fighter, but it was his replacement unit after the gun tank because Ryu, of course, passed. So the gun tank originally was a 2-man unit. That's interesting. Looks like we have a little engineer guy here. Having him guide in that piece. I'm guessing there's another way to get out because this is going to close them in there. This thing has a bunch of expansion parts here that you could combine here to make the 27 different configurations for the G fighter. You have the caliper landing gear there. Oh, that's interesting. There's 2 different versions of it. Plenty of details and markings. You have Sayla here. I can't tell who that guy is. Well, I guess that's Captain Woody. We have another engineer here. I'm guessing this thing comes with extra weapons for their Gundam as well. Looks like it's another shield. It looks like it has another Gundam hammer. This one looks super spiky. What in the world? I hurt yourself that. But very cool here. So this is definitely something I'm going to want to build sooner rather than later. I know I have my G3 2.0 I've been meaning to build that for a while, but I kept getting stuff that pushed it back. So I definitely have to build the 2 of these things very soon so I could get these things together. This is probably my favorite configuration out of the G Fighter. I forget what this one was called. This is the G Sky. I always enjoyed this thing because this was what he used to fight the Zaccarello mobile armor. And I always liked the Zaccarello, very weird, exotic look. And we have, of course, the G Sky here. I forget which one is the... Oh, well, no, sorry, the G Sky Easy. Like I said, there's just so many of these. I forget which is which. Because I know there's I forget, maybe this is a G Sky, and this is a G Sky Easy. This is a G Bull, the G Bull Easy. I think this is the version that does have the Gundam in it. It's like there's like so many weird configurations to these things. Like I think actually this is it moving forward with the beam rifle out, and then again the Easy is just sailing here. So she's like, it's just like these weird configurations to it. Like a little fun fact, that's why when they made the movie versions of the original series, they didn't use the G Fighter because it just had so many different configurations. It's just super weird and complex. It just felt like a more like mecha series or whatever you can call it. And they wanted the Gundam to feel more realistic, so it felt more realistic to just not have it. But they definitely started incorporating the G Fighter back in the meta with later stuff when they went back in time to the 1 Year War, so that's cool. Because I personally thought the G Fighter was a super cool design, and I always thought of Sayla when I thought of the G Fighter. That always felt like her machine. So having 2, whatchamacallit, core boosters was a little lame. I would have loved it if they kept Slugger in the core booster and kept Sayla in the G Fighter and gave Slugger the core booster. That's my ideal setup for a white base team. I could take a pass on Hayato and Kai both using gun cannons because although I hated seeing 2 gun cannons in the movie when I first watched it, when I went back and watched the original series, I saw the gun tank flying in space. I'm like, okay, this does look pretty ridiculous. There's, I can make an exception for that, just for realism's sake. Although it is possible technically, it's still stupid to have the gun tank in space. That thing would get shot down even faster than a ball would. Let's be honest here. So, nothing really to write home about with the parts here. Just that navy blue for the hole. Everything else is just a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, some red. And then we have a more modern manual here. So, very cool shot here. The white base hanger. Everything getting prepped and ready to go and all that. Speaking of, I'm not If I didn't know that, I'd say this is supposed to be Slager in a G Fighter here, because that looks like a blue pilot figure, not a yellow one. Even though you seen they had a figure for Sailor, not a Slayer. Oh, you know what? That's who the second person is. That's Slager. Okay, I didn't think about that. I forget. He wore like the captain's uniform. I'm like, is that Bright? No, he's got a hat on. Bright doesn't even wear a hat. But yeah, let me put this away. Hurry up and get this thing finished up because we're getting to the 30-minute mark. Probably could have been quicker if I stopped yapping as much, but yeah. All right, so let's get this baby open and get inside. So we of course have, I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'm gonna assume this is just the details on the Gundam, the G Fighter, etc., all this different configurations. So I'm not gonna go too crazy with this one here. I'll sort of drag it down this the page, my camera across the page. I don't know what I'm saying here. Slowly, so you guys can look at it. Get your translators out if you're interested. A few parts here that aren't used. I'm not sure why. I can't think of any reason why some of these things wouldn't be used. I'm looking at that parts. I don't think it's the one with the Gundam hammer and whatnot. So, oh, this one's actually different. No wonder I'm like, this thing looks spikier than the. Okay, this is the hyper hammer. I didn't realize it, yeah, because it's got the thrusters. The hyper hammer is the one with the thrusters. The Gundam hammer is just, well, a mace, basically. You just spin it around. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. It's funny. I mentioned that before. I'm like, how come they didn't do a hyper hammer? They only did the Gundam hammer. Oh, that's actually awesome. That's pretty damn cool. All right. Now I want to build this thing in the Gundam so I could go compare the hammers. Show the difference between the two. That's awesome. But we just have the makings of this thing. It looks like the way they created the caterpillar threads are a bit different than the one the gun tank has. Just the fact there's the stampings to keep these things in, whereas the gun tanks, it wasn't like that. It was just one chain and a clip around it, and the individual links broke off. It was just terrible design. So this just shows the G Fighter was made after they iterated on the caterpillars a lot more. Because I almost honestly want to throw my gun tank in a shoebox. The caterpillars, I think, is so bad. But very interesting construction on this thing so far. Very detailed at that. There's a lot more to building a lot of these pieces than I thought they'd go into, so very detailed. One thing I can also say is this thing really kind of makes me mad because they never made a master grade of the heck's that thing called? The Sky Grasper from Seed. They made that thing in every scale but master grade. What really ticked me off is the fact that they made like a version of the Strike Gundam originally, which just came with the launcher and the sword strike, because of course the original version comes with the ale. And it's like, man, they weren't thinking when they did that, because they could have easily had just made the Sky Grasper with the extra parts. They've done that, of course, with the real grade. And I'm trying to think if they did it. I don't think they did that with the perfect grade. I think the perfect grade, they had the perfect grade come with the ale strike. And then they did another pack that came with the other stuff later, if I'm not mistaken. But we, of course, have the MS Traction just showing its role in the show. Whereas other stuff, I think, was just showing it, like, you know, details of the suit itself. So, of course, we have Slager and the G Fighter sacrifice himself to help destroy the Big Zom. And then I think it's just them showing, I want to say it was in, why am I blanking? Jabra, where they first combined to make a G Armor and Sailor. So, of course, we have some of the more details of this thing here. Again, showing off that has a bit of an inner frame, the different configurations you can make with this thing. Very cool. I know this one they use in Jabra as well, if I'm not mistaken. Again, this is really stupid. It's just all these configurations for this thing, and it's just like, why? Like, this thing literally was just driving down. I don't think they even shot anyone like that. Like, it's just like, it was a very unnecessary thing for the G Fighter to really be able to do. All it needed to really do is fly around by itself, lull the Gundam in, and that's it. All the other stuff was just like stupid and unnecessary. Like, there's no reason for it to do like anything. So any of this stuff rather. I'm not sure what in the heck I'm looking at here. I'm guessing this is like some sort of extra thing that you could carry inside the G fighter when a Gundam's not loaded. Okay, I see what it is. This is the extra piece you need to make the, what is it, the G Sky, when the Gundam's half the Gundam's combined in it or whatever the heck. But yeah, I don't know what else to say here. I'm not gonna lie, I can't make heads nor tails of this thing. Okay, the little piece you need to put this thing on the action base. What you probably want to do is definitely something you want to put in the air. So this thing just could do a whole bunch of different stuff. Again, you have the clip there you can put on. It's telling you the Gundam is not included. The box would be way bigger if it was. But like I said, if you want a G fighter and a Gundam, the real type color is the version that comes just like that. Then of course it's showing how you'd mount the G armor on an action base. So they're saying you have to connect it with the Gundam itself and then put them inside. Then you could, you know, load them in, put on an action base like that. There's the shield there, showing you how to construct the second shield real quick. So you could have both shields covering the G armor as so. And then of course, again, we have the other configurations they're trying to show off how to make. This thing looks so, I was gonna say funny, but goofy too. Yeah, funny and goofy. One thing I could definitely say that sucked about the original 2.0's Core Fighter is the fact that the wings don't fold in to the body without like it like not combining, like it's like a combined mechanism that like folded the wings in and the tail or whatever this piece is called. I'm blanking on what that would be called, but that's like the one thing that stopped them from being able to make a master grade core booster, which I really wanted to see. I was hoping that was coming after they made the G5, but they never did a core booster. Because like, what I was about to say, they already had the core fighter there. Like the core booster would have been a shoo-in. Like you sort of have what essentially is the core booster anyway, which was just the, what was it, the G Sky Easy with the core fighter on the lower half of the G fighter. But I wanted a core booster. That's what I wanted to see. So I'm hoping that eventually Bandai randomly comes out with one. Shoot, I'd even take one in real grade form. I just want to see a darn core booster. I mean, we just had the, what is it, the 2.0 real grade, so anyway, so I can talk about how much I want a core booster all day. So right now, the only way you'll be able to get one is like action figure form or the original core booster from when this show first came out and they like first made Gunpla, you know, which I'm honestly tempted to do because I mean it can't look too frumpy. It's a core booster. I don't think I get any of the other stuff. The other stuff just looks like the versions of like the designs, like when they were drawn at its worst, if you know what I'm talking about. But plus the articulation's terrible. I'm not that nostalgic that I want that stuff. But yeah, almost 30 minutes in. Let me stop yapping. I thank you guys all so much for watching. You know, it's always a pain when I do like more than one master grade unboxing because I always end up yapping and it's already like a lot more to look at than a high grade, so it always ends up getting like 30 minutes. But I've got a few things that I need to build and of course review. I just did a review of this guy like last month because I already set up my last unboxing a week or two ago, but I had a lot of overtime at my job, so I'm just now getting some time to myself to do this stuff. I actually got called to work tonight. Technically, this is supposed to be my first day of vacation, but I'm going to hopefully be able to build the Alizoos before I come in tonight. I want to slide this in real quick, and hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to get some reviews out for more stuff as I like review and build stuff. I don't know if I'll be building any of this stuff this week, but I got my game plan set on what I'm going to build. Hopefully, I end up doing it so I can get some reviews out. But thank you guys all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you know what to do. And I'll see you in the next video, unboxing, or review. Take care.